I want to sir. I am the chairman of Shokaye. For now, I am the chairman Shokaye CDA. And I was just at home now, and they brought this for me as palliative for the whole of Shokaye estate. In this estate, we have 147 houses with families and tenants living there. I'm confused now. I don't know how to share this for 147 households in Shokaye estate. If you guys, the government, I'm talking to Dr. Abiodun now. If you people know you cannot do something, don't do it. We are not hungry, we are not beggars. So we don't need your rice as palliative. This is not even one bag. This is not up to an eighth of a bag of rice. Tí o bá ṣe ṣe, ẹ má force ara yín láti ṣe, à ń ṣe lébi mi báyìí. So èmi aláìkí ń gbé ráìsì padà kó bá mi gbé lọ fún Dàpọ̀ Abíọ́dún kó gbé padà sí ọ̀gá ẹ̀ Tinubu tó rán kó gbé fún àwọn ọmọ wọn. À ń ṣe lébi, Ọlọ́run ò dẹ̀ ní ṣe wálé lébi. So that is it. We don't need this rice. If you want to give us palliative, don't insult us. This is an insult. Shokaye estate refused to be insulted. God bless you. Black, I want to, sir.
Well,
I am the chairman.
Fellow Nigerians, I actually am inspired to do this video because of this particular, video that has, I believe, I've gone viral. And not just this, while I was watching this, yesterday it became widely known that Nigeria, my country, is again going to borrow, money to the tune of $1.5 billion to help service our budget. Major, that's what they use, to help implement our budget. And equally help pay interest on the previous loans that we have. And just this morning too, my alerts, informed me that the Naira again has depreciated. As a matter of fact, the Naira to pound sterling right now is well over 1,300. It's unprecedented. The way our currency is being devalued, the high cost of living in Nigeria, and all the many woes, affecting Nigeria right now. And I sat down and I began to think. We had a presidential election and there was high enthusiasm because of the failure of the Buhari's administration. And we thought that we were elect a president that will help, begin to reverse the downward trends of Nigeria's economy. And somehow the story of how Bola A Tinubu emerged is not to be told. Everybody's aware. A lot of people are equally aware of all that is happening right now with the certificate saga, Supreme Court expected judgment, whatever it is. We're in October. Bola A Tinubu took over in May. And the question I've asked myself is, the hopelessness that Nigeria appears to be confronting right now, would this same story be had it been that Peter Gregory Obi was the man that was elected and confirmed as president? Would that story be? That is a fundamental question. It's unfortunate, according to Olaro, to me, you cannot predict the temper of a chick still in its egg. But some of us, because of our enthusiasm before the elections, based on what we heard from the candidates and the aspirants on the ground, some of us can argue very firmly that Nigeria would not have been like this if it was under the leadership of Peter Gregory Obi. Now, look, everybody can agree and disagree, but please, if you are putting your comments there, I expect to see lots of comments, and please equally share the broadcast. Do it respectfully. We must all not, lie down facing the same direction. But it's good, it's important will remind those at the Arm of Affairs that there were certain expectations by Nigerians. And I particularly want to speak to a lot of my Yoruba friends who have not, woken up to the ideal of reasoning, who are still very much encapsulated in the ideal of ethnicity and tribalism, irrespective of what is happening. And the message I have for such people and many others who appear not to reason with reasoning, the message I have clearly is, I am glad that the bag of cement is not cheaper for any of them. I am glad that the bag of rice that is over 60,000 naira right now is not cheaper. They are not buying it cheaper than the rest of us. Now the question is, would Peter Obi steer Nigeria in this direction? Let's get reminded. I mean, just putting things in some perspective. According to Bloomberg, Nigeria is set to receive 1.5 billion US dollars from World Bank. As a matter of fact, I placed a call to somebody at Abuja, in Abuja, some 2 hours ago, and he told me that the deal has been sealed, that the money has been granted to Nigeria. 1.5 billion US dollars. 1.5 billion US dollars. Meanwhile, this same government had earlier borrowed some money to the tune of up to about $800 million. And they argued that they were going to share this money, chunk of it will go into palliative, to poor Nigerians. And how they are able to get that statistics of poor Nigerians, I do not know. In Edo State, my own state where I'm from, the governor of Edo State came up with a program to alleviate the people suffering by providing some free bus services to Edo State people. And we were made to understand that the resources for that was part of what, Bola A, Tinubu shared to different states. And so people are using different means to try to alleviate the current sufferings of Nigerian people. And so when I saw this video of this man who mentioned Dakpo Abiodun, he is the governor of Ogun State. Let us take a listen to him again, because this is very, very important. But meanwhile, put your comments there. If Peter Obi was in the position of Bola Tinubu just now, would Nigeria be like this? We'll have to take a listen to that video. This is our current debt profile. Okay? Nigeria is now owing. This one is before this $1.5 billion. We are now owing. This one is from Bureau of Statistics. This one came in September, middle of September. We are already middle of October now. A month ago, Nigeria was owing 83.38 trillion naira. And by the time we procure this 1.5 billion, we will have effectively be owing over 100 trillion naira. Now, I remind us, Buhari left Nigeria, with about 70 to 77 trillion that we were owing. That's what Buhari left for Nigeria. And I want to, just to put it clearly in perspective, Buhari met a debt profile of about 12 trillion naira. 12 trillion. But Buhari left Nigeria with a debt profile of over 70 trillion. Under 5 months under, Bola A, Tinubu right now, Nigeria, is currently owing 87 trillion. Now, if we don't add this $1.5 billion, effectively, we are crossing over 100 trillion naira. And yet, some people still don't appear to understand where we are at this moment. They don't. And it's so sad. It's so sad. But let's take a listen to this man whose community was giving less than 20 kg of rice to share as part of the billion naira palliative to poor Nigerians. Take a listen to this fellow again.
In Shokaya Estate. If you guys, the government, I'm talking to Dr. Abiodun now. If you people know you cannot do something, don't do it. We are not hungry, we are not beggars. So we don't need your rice as palliative. This is not even one bag. This is not up to an eighth of a bag of rice. Tí ó bá ṣe é ṣe, ẹ má force ara yín láti ṣe, à ń ṣe lébi mi báyìí. So èmi aláìkí ń gbé rice padà kó bá mi gbé lọ fún Dàpọ̀ Abíọ́dún kó gbé padà sí ọ̀gá ẹ̀ Tinubu tó rán kó gbé fún àwọn ọmọ wọn. À ń ṣe lébi Ọlọ́run ò dẹ̀ ní ṣe wálé lébi. So that is it. We don't need this rice. If you want to give us palliative, don't insult us. This is an insult. Shokaya Estate refused to be insulted. God bless you. Black, I want society.
Because the man talked about Shokaya Estate and he mentioned that Abiodun, who is the governor of Ogun State, I want to believe that Shokaya Estate is in Ogun State and all of that. And that I don't understand, I don't know, honestly, how much of this kind of story, how many of these kind of stories we have all across the nation in the name of this palliative. Now, let's go back a bit. When I took my mouth back, and this is true, there is no way right now I personally can hold Bola A Tinubu to account. There's no way. The reason is because all through the campaign, Bola A Tinubu never committed to any policy on economy. He never committed. He never really told us, gave us any blueprint of how he would tackle Nigeria's economy. So there is nothing really I can hold to Bola A Tinubu. The only thing he has mentioned that reverberates in my head is when he said that he will employ 50 million youths into the army. What they will eat, and all of those things. Those were the kind of policies that we heard from Bola A Tinubu. Today, practically, the policy that we are seeing is a policy of borrowing money endlessly in the name of all of us. And once made the broadcast, and I told the world that there's a monumental burden on everybody that is born in Nigeria. Everybody that is born in Nigeria is born indebted. Is born indebted. I'm a Nigerian. When you look at the debt profile of Nigeria just now, and you decide to share this debt among every living Nigerian, none of us is owing anything less than 100,000 naira. That we do not know how they came about. Just because we are born Nigerians. I did give us an instance of a friend of mine whose children were born here. The eldest child right now is in university. That child has not, she has never worked. Never. But based on the benefit system and the responsibility of the UK to children, to this particular child, what the family has put together by way of the benefits accruing to that child, they have added something to go and buy a house for that young man. Which Nigerian child enjoys such benefits? And yet, Nigeria is potentially the richest country in the world. Let me not take us too deep into this narrative. What did Peter Obi tell us? In the campaign, Peter Obi said he was going to make sure that Nigeria will move from a consumption country to a production country. And he did tell us that it is not a crime to borrow money. But the issue is, what are you borrowing for? Because the history of Nigeria, according to him, was that we have been borrowing for consumption. And I had to say that we have actually been borrowing for not just consumption, we have been borrowing for corruption. Because all we have been borrowing have not in any way translated into a better life for the Nigerian people. And he said I was going to stem that tide. that if we must borrow to make our nation a productive country. Now they talk about palliative. This was one policy that Buhari equally used to drive Nigeria down the lane of corruption. That, as a matter of fact, the bloodstream of Nigeria today is laden with corruption. Corruption has been written into the laws of Nigeria. Embezzlement of the highest order. And it brings me my mind back to some passages in the Bible. As Christ himself said, do not give a man a fish, rather teach the man how to fish. We are giving people fishes in the name of palliative, and yet we are not providing the enabling environment for Nigerians to earn their living in a most respectable and in a most decent way. We are not creating that enabling environment for Nigerians to deploy their intellectual and human resources to ensure that we transform the country. Rather, we are giving handouts and borrowing to give handouts. Peter Obi wasn't going to do that, which is why I believe very strongly that Peter Obi, if he was the one who sat there as president since May 29th, I am sure, I'm very, very sure that our own psyche, our own economy, and our everything would have changed. And in any case, we all would have had something to call him to account for, because he gave us so much that we can remind him of. For the man you have right now in Bola A, Tinubu, there is no way we can hold him to account, because he didn't actually give us anything that we can hold him for, that we can remind him for. $1.5 billion to implement Nigeria's budget and to keep on paying interest on the budget we've had before. Come on, man, people. Come on. And yet, there is no outcry out there. It is like business as usual. NLC is proposing strike and re-proposing strike and calling us strike and re-proposing strike. Like NLC is now NLC Federal Republic of Nigeria. Like they are all part of the same parcel of the whole this thing. Nigerians, we need to wake up. Many of us are all there now languishing, praying to God to come and help us when we have the power, and power belongs to the people. To call these people to order. Recently, a friend of mine sent me, some information. Prayer index. The countries that pray the most in this world. Interestingly, Nigeria came second. I'm surprised that they didn't come first. Afghanistan first, 96%. Nigeria second, 95%. Algeria, Senegal, Djibouti. Look at all of these countries that have embraced religion in such, in such a way. Look at them. Nigeria is top amongst them. We are tops in religion, but we are not asking the questions. After praying in churches and in mosques and everywhere, we come out to the streets and face the hardship that our own people, create in our land. The question is, Peter Obi, Bola A, Tinubu, who would have done better? Who would have done better? Who would have done better? I mean, just put your comments there. But it's important we start asking these questions, because we already have somebody that is called president. You understand the picture from saying that there is no vacuum, and we are seeing the policies. We are seeing it. I'm not even talking about the nepotism that has embraced the government. When Buhari was there, we constantly called him out on his own nepotistic attitude, in the appointment, the lopsidedness. Is this how Nigeria will run? Is this how a country like Nigeria should run? With this greed, this nepotism of is this how we are going to run? And the question really is, to be or not to be. And yet, while we wallow in this squalor, you hear some people come out to say, an Igbo man cannot be president of Nigeria. An Igbo man cannot be president of Nigeria. Look at what Yorubas and the Hausas have given us. Look at it. And tomorrow you want to say that the question of discussing all over again our terms of togetherness should not be on the table. I think it should be on the table. Because this nonsense is just too much. The impact of this current $1.5 billion that they have gone to borrow, that will go into the stream of corruption that will be embezzled by them, we will soon start feeling it. Probably before the end of this year, we'll start buying a bag of rice for 100,000 naira. Then we'll begin to realize that the church that we attend and the mosque that we attend, I saw a video the other day I think they said it was in Delta, where people in the name of religion, you are praying, they blocked all the streets, and one human being who was riding pepper and pep came up to say they should clear the road for him to pass. What kind of useless prayer are they praying? And they almost lynched. In fact, I hear that they probably have lynched that guy to death. It was an eyesore. We could lynch poor people like that, amongst us, suffering with us. We lynch them to death in the name of religion. And yet, we cannot tap into the power of this same religion and call these people we have elected to account. If there are people who deserve such treatment, they are the leaders who are failing the people. We need to wake up, man. I will speak on religion on that broadcast. Put your comments there. Peter Obi, if he was the one in charge, would Nigeria's case be different? I believe it would be. This is my personal opinion. Respectfully, you can put yours there. Nigerians, I feel sad. This is where we are. We just got to talk about it. I feel even more sad that I do not have any policy statement from Bola Tinubu when he was campaigning that I can hold him to account for. Nigeria, na cruise. Please don't forget to share. Follow us on the Comrade Show. And let's keep the discourse going on. God bless you all.